Hello, we are back with more things that good readers do. So in a previous video, we talked about how good readers ask questions. And that means when you're reading, questions pop up in your mind. You may say, I wonder why, or I wonder if, okay? You may also infer. Inferring means you're using the clues that the author gives you. You're putting it with what you know, what schema you have, what background knowledge you have, and you're drawing a conclusion. You're figuring something out. Now with an inference, or when you infer, the author doesn't ever come out and tell you whether or not you're right. You just draw on the clues. So for instance, one example we had in a previous story was that, or we were using a picture, is that a boy and a girl had a snorkel mask and a floaty. So we inferred that they were going swimming. Or we noticed that there were palm trees. So we inferred that they were somewhere warm, maybe somewhere tropical down south. Okay? So those are inferences. Now the author may never come out and tell us those things. And then the other one is make connections. Making connections means you're reminded of something either in your life, you're reminded of something that you've read before, or you're reminded of something in the world, something that you've seen before, maybe on the news or in the world around you. So, making connections. So these were three that we already went over, and if you didn't see that video, I encourage you to go back to the video, What Good Readers Do. And now we're going to add two more things. Now, these are not the only things that good readers do. These are just 5 that are very common. And these are things that we do inside our brain to try and make meaning or try and comprehend. We know that readers also have to figure out the words. We know that they have to know their letter sounds and know high frequency or sight words. So there's a lot of other things, but these are things that go on in our brain to help us understand what's happening. Now I do have Ava and Reese with me, even though you don't see them. You won't see them for most of the video because they're low and I want you guys to be able to see the poster. But I am going to ask them to share what they're thinking as we learn about these 2 new thinking strategies for good readers. I also want you at home to think about how you would answer my questions if you were here or if I could hear you through the screen. So today what we're going to do is I'm not going to read this whole book aloud, so I won't get in trouble. I'm just going to read a little segment of it. And as we read, we are going to think about 2 new strategies of what good readers do. So the first one that we are going to talk about is visualize. So good readers visualize. And what this means is they make a visual in their mind. They picture it happening in their mind. Or what I tell students sometimes is try and make a movie in your mind while you're reading the story. So try to see how this would play out. Now in picture books, the author or the illustrator has really good pictures, and so we can use the pictures. But sometimes when you're reading chapter books, there's no pictures. So it's really important to visualize. So in order to become a better reader, make sure you're visualizing. Now, this story that we're going to use, we have gotten really interested at our house in the Boxcar Children. And Ava's 2nd grade awesome teacher got her hooked on the first Boxcar Children book. And so we have started reading more and more. So this actually comes from the Boxcar Children Mystery Ranch. And this is the 4th book in the series. Okay, so I am going to read just a section, and as I'm reading, I want you to visualize, okay? Picture what you're doing. And another fun thing you can do at home is make a little drawing, sketch real quick while I'm reading, and then you could share it with your family or you could share it with me somehow. You could show through the screen. And for today, Ava and Reese aren't going to be drawing or sketching. They're just going to be explaining what they visualize. Okay, so as I read this, make a picture or make a movie in your head. Okay, here we go. And there could be lots of different things that you visualize. So there's no right or wrong answer of what you share, as long as it's connected to anything that I read today. Okay, now a little background on this series. There are 4 children, brothers and sisters. There's 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and their dog Watch. And they do not have a mom and dad. They live with their grandfather. If you read the first story that in the series, you'll learn that they lived in a boxcar, which was a train car, for a little while, all by themselves. But since then, they have gone to live with their grandfather, and this actual story in the series, they are visiting their aunt on a ranch. So we are going to pick up where they are going to explore the ranch. Something to add? Yes, the aunt is not very nice in this book. So they eventually, I don't want to give it away, but at the beginning of the story, the aunt is not very nice. Okay, so here we go. Jesse is one. So the brothers and sisters, there is Henry, Jesse, Violet, and Benny. And then their dog Watch. Okay, so here we go. Jesse said, "Well, we could explore today. Let's go ask Aunt Jane where to go." The little cross lady was very pleased when the children asked her about their walk. No one had asked her advice for years. "The first thing is, don't get lost. Go down past the chicken houses and you will come to some woods. Go through the woods and you will come to an open field. There is a stream. Follow that stream and you'll come right back home." Benny said, "I think we should take a lunch. Don't you, Aunt Jane?" "By all means," said Aunt Jane, trying to hide a smile. It was very hot in the sun. The children went down past the chicken houses. They came to the cool green woods. "It's a beautiful place," said Henry. "A very nice place to eat lunch, too," said Benny. The others laughed, but they were always hungry. They found a place where they could sit down. It was quiet and cool. Jessie was eating the last of her sandwich when she stopped suddenly. "Look, Henry," she whispered. She pointed to some bushes not far away. "There's a little hut." Henry got to his feet quickly. "The door's open," he said. "It seems to be empty." The children went slowly toward the hut. There was nothing in it, but in front of it, there was a fireplace made of stones, almost hidden by the bushes. Henry put his hand down and felt the stones. Watch sniffed and wagged his tail. Okay, so we're going to stop there. I want you to think about what you visualized. As I read, what did you picture in your mind? Okay? Ava will have you start sharing, and as you're listening, you can compare it to what maybe you were visualizing in your mind as I read that passage. Okay, Ava, what did you visualize?
I was visualizing the hut.
The hut. And what did you see? How could you picture the hut?
Like the rocks outside, like maybe on the hut, like a fireplace.
Okay, so maybe like a fireplace or maybe some rocks in front of the hut.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, what did your hut look like? They didn't really give many.
A little playhouse.
Like a little playhouse. Okay, what was it made of?
Wood.
Maybe wood. Okay, so
Painted
wood.
Yellow.
Painted yellow. You think it was a fancy hut. Okay, what did you visualize, Reese?
I visualized the hut, and I also visualized the woods.
Okay, the woods. What did you see in the woods?
I saw the tall trees.
Okay, saw tall trees.
There was lots.
Lots of tall trees. And they said it was a quiet, cool place on a hot, sunny day. So I could kind of see the sun shining, but they were under the shade because of these big green trees were providing it. And they said it was a nice, cool, quiet place. So I can envision them maybe sitting down under the trees having their little picnic. Okay, and that's what visualizing is all about. It's you may not be exactly correct. You may not visualize it the way the author wanted you to visualize it, but everybody has different visions in their heads. So using the clues that the author gives you to visualize what the words are saying. Okay, so that's visualizing. The next thing that we are going to talk about is predicting. So good readers predict. Okay. So predicting, sometimes people get predicting and inferring mixed up. Now, predicting is similar to inferring. We are using the evidence and we're actually taking guesses about what's going to happen. So inferring doesn't always mean what's going to happen. It's using the clues to try and draw conclusions or figure things out. But prediction really is tied to what's going to happen. And we can then continue on in the story and see if our predictions are correct. So the author will eventually confirm or tell us that we're wrong by reading on and seeing if our prediction is correct. So based on where the story is, we know so far where we stopped that these kids have stopped for lunch. They're in the woods. They're finishing their lunch and they see this hut. The children went slowly toward the hut. There was nothing in it, but in front of it, there was a fireplace made of stones, almost hidden by the bushes. Henry put his hand down and felt the stones. Watch sniffed and wagged his tail. So now we could stop and say, what do I predict is going to happen? What do I think might happen next? Okay, so take a second to predict. What do we think will happen? Okay, Reese, let's let you go first since Ava went first last time.
I think that there's somebody living in there.
Okay.
And they're like gonna explore them. And I think why wagged his tail and it was like hot maybe.
Okay. So Reese is predicting that there's somebody that lives there and the kids are gonna explore that. And maybe Watch was wagging his tail because things were warm. Maybe he's curious, or maybe he's excited, or maybe he smells something that is interesting to him.
Yeah, or he kind of put his paw against it, and it was a little hot.
Oh, okay, okay. Good predictions. Ava, what is it that you predict might happen?
I think they might make it their own house.
Ooh, Ava predicts that it might become their own little house. Maybe they will explore and set it up in a way that they will get to stay in it and live in it. Like the boxcar. So they found this empty boxcar, this empty train cart, and they created it into a home. And maybe they'll do that with the hut. Okay? All right. So that's predicting. So as you continue to read, and read by yourself or read with a family member or read with a friend, what I want you to do is try and think about these different ways of thinking as you read. So ask questions, infer, make connections, visualize, and predict. All right. We will later on have in some coming videos, Ava and Reese will be working on trying to find some short I and some long I items, so tune in for that. We also are going to be doing some analyzing of song lyrics. So if you like music and you like songs, we are going to take a look at the words of a song and we are going to analyze it and try and do some of these things and really be critics of the song's lyrics or the song's words. Okay, so tune in if you're looking forward to any of that. See ya.